The Manifesto for Agile Software Development, Principles 4, 6, and 12. Now, as I may have mentioned previously, the authors of this Agile Manifesto did not specifically number the principles, but they are listed, and it seems to make sense to identify them numerically. I've chosen several for today's discussion that I believe have something in common. Principles 4, 6, and 12 all raise questions about the practical aspect of the principle. Principle 4, business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Now, is that practical? Now, the reason why I bring that question up is because oftentimes I get that question from the people that I'm training or that I'm coaching. Must work together daily throughout? That does not seem practical. Well, remember, we're working in short cycles of delivery, maybe just a couple of weeks. And any day where we miss an opportunity to catch a potential risk or to miss an opportunity for improvement could cascade into other elements of that iteration, of that sprint, ultimately putting the entire sprint in jeopardy. Now, it's not saying that we have to necessarily be in the same room together all day, but there has to be a connection between the business people and the developers. Business people referring to those who are making the request, representing the users or the customers. Now, connected with that, I believe, Principle 6, the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. What does face-to-face conversation mean? Now, keep in mind, when this was written in 2001, you could be sure that face-to-face meant in the same room, literally face-to-face. With the advent of virtual tools and more people working remotely, interestingly, I have found people have a new definition for face-to-face. They believe that being on a video conference is the same as face-to-face. After all, I can see your face, you can see my face. I understand that perspective. I don't fully agree with it, though, because if face-to-face means in the same room, there's more than just my face that's present. There's my body language. There's my shifting in the seat. What am I doing with my hands? Is there an opportunity to share some food or drink during that discussion? Not quite the same as what you get with video conference. Now, video conference has been a great help. Do not misunderstand me. I just don't think it's the best form of communication. Let's come back to the specific wording. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information. The most effective. You may not be able to do that. And your video conference calls could be efficient and effective, but wouldn't they be even more efficient and effective in how we convey information if we were in the same room? Now, tie that with principle 4, which has to do with business people and developers working together daily, and you can see that it gets a little more complicated. Principle 12 reads, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective and then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly at regular intervals. The team reflects. Well, what are those regular intervals? Periodically, of course. In Scrum, the regular interval would be at the end of each sprint, at the end of each iteration. And while we know that the longest sprint length is 1 month, many teams are sprinting at 2-week intervals. So every 2 weeks, there's an opportunity to reflect on how to become more effective and adjust and tune accordingly. Now, what is the team? Now, in the Scrum framework, the Scrum team, represented by developers, Scrum Master, and product owner, reflects back on principle number 4. Business people and developers must work together daily. So when principle 12 talks about the team reflecting at regular intervals, that includes the product owner. And oftentimes, the product owner is representing other business people behind them. Now, if we mix all these together, you can see, I hope, right, that we have this question about how can we all get together? How can we communicate effectively? And who are the participants that should be there? And as I said at the beginning, these are the three where people often look for ways to modify the principle, to not necessarily carry through with what the principle is saying. Now, fortunately for us, these are principles, they're not laws. The Agile police aren't going to come and slap your hand for not following the principle to the letter, but the principles are intending to drive us towards a way of thinking and ultimately a way of behaving. Thank you for your time. Please look for other sessions on the Agile Manifesto.